Ready for liftoff. Today we're diving deep into space, but not the kind with rockets and astronauts, at least not entirely.
Right, more like the space where ideas collide.
Exactly. We're tackling space politics. Specifically, a speech by French politician Jean-Luc Mélenchon. Our listener wrote in, wants to know more about his stance on, well, who gets to run the galaxy, basically.
Ambitious.
Always is with space, right? So Jean-Luc Mélenchon, he's got some strong opinions on the future of space exploration. Where do we even start?
Well, he uses this term anthropospace.
Catchy?
Right, it's this idea that humanity and space are like fundamentally linked. He argues it's ingrained in us from, ancient civilizations using stars for agriculture.
Which is wild when you think about it.
Totally, to like all the tech we depend on today. It all traces back to that fascination with the cosmos.
So we're hardwired for space, it's in our DNA, but then he goes on about a crossroads. What's that about?
Okay, so he paints these two potential futures. One where space benefits all mankind, lots of collaboration, scientific discovery, that sort of thing.
Sounds ideal.
It does. But then there's the flip side. The one where space gets carved up, privatized by, massive corporations, powerful nations.
So list Star Trek, more corporate space race.
Basically. He actually uses SpaceX as a prime example. They own, get this, 60% of all satellites currently orbiting Earth.
Seriously?
That many.
That many. And he sees that kind of concentration of power as, well, let's just say it raises some red flags.
Understandably. It's like, who gets to set the rules out there if it's just a handful of companies calling the shots?
Exactly. And that's his concern. Is it going to be a free-for-all?
A cosmic land grab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he points to things like the U.S. law that allows ownership of space resources, the Artemis Accords, as potential steps in that direction.
I'm sensing some skepticism.
He's wary, let's put it that way, worried about militarization of space, equitable access, the whole shebang.
So high stakes then.
Definitely high stakes.
So we're not just talking about like the ethics of asteroid mining here. It's bigger than that.
Way bigger. Mélenchon, he calls for what he calls space planning.
Space planning.
Yeah, like we need a plan, right? Not just react to whoever's got the biggest rocket. He says it's about shaping a different future for space exploration. One built on like global teamwork, responsible development.
Okay, so less about claiming territory, more about like a shared roadmap for humanity's future in space.
Exactly. And he gets really specific too. Talks about the need for skilled workers, technicians, engineers, all that. Even mentions investing in, get this, vocational schools.
Vocational schools?
Yeah, like training the next generation of space explorers. Right.
Huh?
He sees it all as connected.
Interesting. It's not every day you hear a politician linking like welding certificates and lunar bases, but it makes sense, right? You need people on the ground, so to speak, to make this stuff happen.
Totally. He's bridging this gap between the big ideas, the dreams of space, with the actual nuts and bolts of making it work. And it goes back to his main point, this contrast between like a collective vision for space where everybody benefits versus, the potential downsides of a purely capitalist approach.
Right, which he's clearly not a fan of. Not really. He's worried about short-sightedness, profit over sustainability. Uses a really interesting example, actually. Compares the lifespan of telecommunications satellites.
You're talking about like the ones beaming down our internet.
Those are the ones. He says they need replacing every few years.
Seriously, I never thought about that.
Right. It's easy to miss. But he contrasts that with something like the James Webb Space Telescope.
Okay, yeah, that's a whole different beast.
Totally. The James Webb, it's a product of international collaboration, decades of planning meant to last.
And potentially unlock, like, the biggest secrets of the universe.
Exactly. So Mélenchon's point is, which model do we want for space? The disposable, quick profit model or...
The playing the long game, knowledge for all model.
He's definitely advocating for the latter. And he doesn't shy away from calling people out, by the way.
Oh.
Like who? He really challenges the audience, especially young people, to like... wake up, get involved, fight for the kind of future they want to see. He's saying this is on us right now.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you think about those sci-fi movies, right? Where humanity's all over the galaxy, but some planets are like paradise and others are, well...
Not so much.
Yeah. And it's like he's saying, hey, we messed it up down here. Let's not repeat that up there.
Right. Learn from our mistakes. He's not just pointing fingers, though. He's challenging us to think bigger, act together, make sure space benefits everyone.
So out of all that, what really stuck with you? What's the one thing you hope our listener walks away with?
For me, it's that urgency, but also This belief that we can actually choose a different path. It's not a done deal how this space thing unfolds.
Like we're not just along for the ride, we're helping steer.
Exactly.
Powerful stuff. Well, listener, that's Jean-Luc Mélenchon's take on the future of space. Definitely gives us a lot to think about. Remember, whether you're steering through a telescope tonight or just letting these ideas swirl around, you've got a role to play in all this. The future of space. It's not set in stone, it's being written right now. Until next time, keep those deep thoughts flowing.